North Korean leader Kim Jong-un vowed to support what he described as Russia's just fight during a rare summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin on Wednesday. Kim and Putin met at the Vosny Cosmodrome rather, Russia's launch center Wednesday, and Kim vowed full and unconditional support, adding that North Korea will always stand with Russia against the anti-imperialist West. The United States has expressed concern that Wednesday's summit will lead to an arms deal as the two countries escalate their standoffs with the West. As Moscow continues to wage war on Ukraine, Russia is looking to North Korea to help supply munitions, something Putin desperately needs. The two leaders met for between 4 hours and 5 hours Wednesday. The fact that they met at Russia's important launch pad, analysis suggests North Korea might be looking to Russia for assistance in developing military satellites. Kim has described this step as critical as he continues to sound the alarm about what he views as an increasingly threatening alliance between the U.S. and South Korea. The North Korean leader departed for Russia on Sunday and brought with him an official in charge of munition policies, Jo Chun-ryng, along with other Workers' Party officials. Putin also brought his defense minister Sergei Shoigu to participate in the delegation, according to the Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov. Sergei previously visited North Korea in July, causing speculation about the two countries' increased military cooperation. The trip also marks the first time Kim has left the country since the pandemic, during which time the country posed significant restrictions on border crossing. When his personal train stopped at the station along the country's shared border in Kazan, he was met with military honor guard and a brass band. There was also a red carpet rolled out for him, according to North Korean officials, North Korean state media, and he was greeted by the regional governor. Russia, which has in the past supported UN Security Council-backed sanctions against North Korea, would be violating the international agreement if it enters into a munitions deal with the Pyongyang. No UN member state should violate Security Council sanctions against North Korea by engaging in illegal trade of arms, and must certainly not engage in military cooperation with North Korea that undermines the peace and stability of the international community. South Korean Foreign Ministry spokesperson Lim Suk said at a briefing Tuesday. The United States has previously accused North Korea of supplying Russia with arms to aid in the invasion of Ukraine, but both countries have denied the allegations. So what you have here is the enemy of my enemy is my friend, where they mention how North Korea backed sanctions on, Russia backed sanctions on North Korea, but now is seemingly meeting with North Korea on friendlier terms and in obviously some attempt to form a deal. I've said this before. Countries like North Korea, Iran, when you get, I guess you could call it, ostracized by the international community. So, like how Iran is given that treatment because a lot of these other countries favor Israel. It makes a lot of sense. Even if, like, I highly doubt that Kim is thinking to himself, yes, I will work to make sure that Russia and Ukraine are back together. This is one of my main goals. No, I don't think he's anywhere near as interested in this invasion as Putin is, for example. But I think if you're him and you're looking at the fact that all of these other countries for the entire 10 plus years that you've been in power have, and even before that when your dad and grandpa were in charge, have ostracized you, have demonized you. Oh, you're a dictator, you're anti this, that, or the other. Which again, I don't dispute the various descriptions of him, but you can't have a country where the person who's running it is someone that's not elected, which means we're going to have to deal with him presumably for the next 10, 20, 30 plus years, if not possibly even longer, and expect that person to not see another country that is being similarly antagonized, even if there are valid reasons given what's going on now and even before now to critique or otherwise sanction Russia or break off from it. What I'm getting at is that their shared ostracization by the international community has caused this alliance to be something that I think makes a lot of sense from the standpoint of here's two countries that everywhere else talks trash about, threatens, tries to punish, and they're saying, you know what, let's link up, let's do something together. It really does seem like Kim goes from one controversy to the other. They mentioned that his first time leaving North Korea since the pandemic. I remember the pandemic with him. There are very few, if not little, infections or over. I remember that whole thing where they were like accusing him of lying about how many people were infected. I guess to make North Korea look better. Now this is a major meeting because Russia does not have that many allies that can truly. And I've said before, North Korea is nowhere near the might of a lot of these other countries like the U.S. and Germany, but it's also somewhere that just the sheer presence of it antagonizes a lot of these Western regions. I mean, you know, we went from having these supposedly historic peace summit meetings, like three of them, right, with Trump and Kim Jong Un, that went nowhere. And when they happened, I was very supportive of the meetings because I favor peace no matter who the participants are. But I really wish he had been able to get something substantive out of Kim. I think if that had happened, we probably wouldn't be seeing this meeting taking place. Like maybe North Korea would still be friendly towards, not friendly, I should say, but neutral towards Russia, kind of like not really directly antagonizing it. But I also believe that this summit probably would not be happening now. You don't just have the leaders of two countries that are despised, frankly, by the UN, just kind of like getting together and sitting back. I shouldn't even say Russia's despised by the UN. I guess I could call it at currently widely disliked by the international community. I guess that's a better way of saying it because they were a member or are a member. I should correct myself. But no, this is very important. I don't know if North Korea is going to turn the tide, but this is the byproduct of two regions that are widely hated by a lot of other countries, governments, deciding that they should have each other's back in some way. And I don't think North Korea is going to get that involved simply because it already has enough problems of its own. And I think that being like a major component of the conflict in Ukraine would just drain its resources. But I don't know. It's gonna play some role. There's gonna probably be some arms sales, some more type of weapons going back and forth. Um, I mean, I wouldn't even be surprised if like Russia tried to get a deal with North Korea to stick some of its prisoners over there, and because of the whole you once you go in you can't go out policy that they have. It's just not something that should come off as too surprising if you've just in the last couple of years seen how these countries have been treated by other places. But I do hope that we get some kind of ceasefire eventually. This war looks like it's going to go on forever. And North Korea just kind of, I think it recognizes that this is not a conflict that's going away anytime soon. So it's trying to like draw its foot in the sand. But it knows it can't entirely side with the West because realistically, once this conflict is over, whether Biden is still in office or it's somebody else, they're probably, if you've listened to a lot of the presidential candidates, they're going to probably try to target North Korea and Iran again. So North Korea's like vested interest is we can keep this thing going on longer because that prolongs the lack of focus on me. So it's all self-preservation.